Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Sonic Sunday number 13. 13 is an interesting number. We've been told that it's bad. And I've really learned that most of the things they tell us are bad are actually good. And the number 13 is often associated with the goddess. And the goddess, the feminine, I would see more as a magnetic aspect of electromagnetism, but also the like the matter, like the earth itself, mass that uh, we become, right? We have physical bodies, and our physical bodies are made of earth and all of the elements. And so today's topic is on loving ourselves, loving the hardware that we are, the operating system that we are. It's not really an easy thing to do. I think a lot of people really, really struggle with this particular topic. There's a lot of self-loathing that has been built into the game. And there's many, 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 many ways, consciously and subconsciously, that we can send bad vibes to ourselves. Anybody guilty of that? So today we're going to talk a little bit about our bodies, our emotional bodies, our mental bodies, our spiritual bodies, our physical bodies, and what gets in the way of us really loving, honoring, respecting, being kind to, nurturing, maybe even adoring, and certainly appreciating ourselves. Because a big part of what's wrong out there is that people are hating on themselves and then projecting that all around them. And think about it. I mean, just imagine for a moment, what if everybody truly loved, honored, respected, and cared for themselves appropriately? What would be going on in the world then? It would be a really different scene. We can't fix things out there. We can only shift up our own vibe and then radiate that out into the collective. And the more we are in a state of coherence, the coherent emotions, love, gratitude, appreciation, compassion, the more we contribute that to the whole mix, and then we create that. I think I said last week that your vibe doesn't attract your experience. Your vibe is your experience. So there's a lot of you out there having the experience of being vibey in a good way. Then that's going to be the experience out there, right? I mean, I know that there are like elements in the game that seem to be programmed to not give off good vibes, but those are the ones that incentivize us to work harder at our own good vibes. Right? Yeah. So before I go any further, I just want to take a moment of reflection about last week's session, the 12 bands and 12 strands. If you haven't seen that yet, I recommend it. I'm just kind of curious in your comments about what your experience was with that one and if you've gone back to it. For me, that was a super useful one because I came in pretty discombobulated and came out much better. And actually, I've been kind of feeling it all week. So if you haven't done that one, do it. If you have, let me know what did you notice about that? Because the reason why I ask that is because everything's kind of in an order here, and I feel like that one kind of set us up for this one. We created the space and the possibility and the capacity as we activated all those 144 strands. Those are carrying light, and light in its purest form really is love, truth, beauty, harmony, order, the perfect sine wave, the Fibonacci sequence unfolding, right? The octaves of life as they unfold. And so we want that light to be able to stream through us. We want to be carriers of that light. And if we are harshing on ourselves, we're creating darkness in that flow, truly. Brighter awareness, seeing, softer accepting of life. Can you speak about it almost being painful and uncomfortable to hold more light? I believe that it helped me keep it together during a very difficult week. Love, truth, beauty, order is my new password. Last week helped me to envision myself as the expanded being that I truly am. Yeah, that's it, right? This is expansive. I mean, a lot of people's minds have been sort of stuck in this raise your vibration, this sort of going higher. It's so linear, it's so narrow, and it's so eschewing the low, like everything is. We want the low and the high, the medium, the in between, the impossibly high, the impossibly low. We want it all, and we want to expand into that, right? So our consciousness expands, our voltage increases. And yes, it can be painful, right? People talk about kundalini arising and awakening and all of that. And maybe I don't get it. but but to me, it's just the ascending current coming up from the surface of the earth and finding its way through our bodies. And we've been so heavily inundated with, and this is the feminine, the negative, the emotional, the movement, that. Whereas the masculine is more downcoming, and we need both, obviously. But we've all been kind of like bleh, had too much positive, wearing rubber soled shoes. We're just burdened, time burden, money burden, self-hatred burden, right? This sort of self-loathing is a downgoing kind of heavy experience. And we also have various sort of locks built into our bodies that stop information and energy from flowing. This is part of the plan to diminish us and disempower us, right? So this is what we got to figure out in the game, is how to undo these locks and how to get energy flowing and how to expand into our potential. And energy gets trapped below people's feet a lot. I often work on people and they got hardly anything coming up through their feet at all, or it gets trapped in the pelvis and then it just doesn't arise. And so as energy starts to move into places where your wires aren't juicy and developed, it can be a little painful, right? Because you're just going into these places where like, oh, there was nothing flowing there, and now all of a sudden there is. It's just light. It's just energy, right? It's electricity. And so the trick is to do your best to relax into it. I think also we've been so conditioned to be small and so conditioned to be fearful of expanding, of stepping into, of stepping out, of just shining. I've seen so many people that shininess of childhood just gets all these wet blankets put on it. It's just wet and cold and isolated in a corner of your potential, of your warm, radiant, bright potential. And it's understandable why we would have self-loathing if we're covered in wet blankets and crunched up into a corner. That sucks. But that's how a lot of people end up. Yeah. I keep reactivating the strands by being aware of them, just simply closing my eyes for a second, breathing them, and finding them in my field. I did not feel so good when I began, but felt very balanced after it. Very valuable. A keeper to watch over and over. Yeah. Yeah, it is. I really agree with that. And I want to empower you with tools in a world that is kind of buffeting us about, to have touchstones to come back to, well to drink from and awaken to our own light. So this is kind of a next step in this opening towards self-love and towards I think the sort of spiritual aspiration of blissful union with the divine. Well, it's a great state to get to. If you've ever been there, you're like, oh God, this is what it's all about. Right? And we might get that through eating a really good meal or having really good sex or watching a really beautiful sunset. Right. But the only way that we can really let in that feeling of loving life is by loving ourselves first. Like we have to remove all the obstructions of self-love in order to experience cosmic love or earth love or uh, even, physical love in a really satisfying way. And I think that satisfaction is kind of the elusive concept here for many people. Very often more inclined to be frustrated, disappointed, guilty, ashamed, uncomfortable, needy, fussy, right? Than just like satisfied and content. It's a lot easier for your body to be healthy and carry out all the things that it needs to carry out to work if you're just satisfied and content. And obviously, we don't want to be too satisfied and too content because then we'll just sit around and do nothing. So we need the dynamic interplay of, yeah, here I am satisfied and content, but all of a sudden I have to pee or I need to eat. I feel like I need to go for a walk. I need to get to work. Hopefully, you can be satisfied and content to some level, because we can be both. We can be tuned into that rested place even as we're feeling driven by certain needs. We don't need to exit feeling good completely in order to go to work. Like if that's your life, that's a problem. Right? You want to bring that feeling with you wherever you go. And I think one of the things that undermines it the most is rushing. Rushing. It's very hard to feel satisfied and content when you're in that yang, rushing kind of movement. So self-love is in part this process of coming into a rhythm of that just really works for your system and figuring out how to stay there, even when you're in stupid traffic or you're under a deadline or your kid's taking too long to put on their snowsuit and get out the door, right? It's like, can you just stay groovy? Yeah. Okay. So I just want to talk kind of just about nuts and bolts about our body, just kind of practical things that maybe you've heard me talk about before, or maybe you haven't. But our body, like anything else in creation, especially living things, is a collection of all the elements. And that's what we're going to tune today. We're going to tune each of the different elements that comprises our being and tap into those places and establish kind of a coherent, friendly relationship with them. Because all of the elements make up who we are. What are we, right? We're composed of heaven and earth. We're starlight, the electricity, the plasma, the ether. And we're earth. We're mud and water and salt and like dead things, right? So what is the soil but like things that have fallen over and died in it? And then things grow back out. And you're the ocean. I mean, fundamentally, that is what we are. And there's no sin in any of that. Right. So where does the problem come in? And I would say that our hardware is super cool, has all these powers and abilities and avenues of pleasure and enjoyment and wonder. And then our operating system, our consciousness, the part of us that like sees and moves and recognizes our needs and operating, the operator. And then there's software that's been downloaded into us. There's programs that we've been programmed with. These programs of language and the way that language is put together and the way that the world is and the way that we are and the programs of ancestral trauma and all of these programs, these softwares that are running. And these programs, a lot of them are quite frankly shit. There's just a whole lot of garbage. We've been fed garbage food. We've been fed garbage music. We've been fed garbage news. We've been fed garbage education. What else? Right? Garbage in the skies, garbage in the water. What the heck? We're polluted. And all of that mess is what leads to this self-hatred and self-loathing, because in some level you're tied up in knots and you're like, what the heck is wrong with me? You've been told that you're a guilty sinner. You've been told that you're contributing to climate change and that you're bad. You've been told that you're a cancer of the earth. You've been told that as a human, you're very, 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 very bad. And so you've internalized that. And you're like, I'm bad. But it's all just corrupted, noisy, nonsense programs that are signal jammers to the truth. To the truth. That you're infinite, that you're powerful, that you're a sub-creator of God, that you're beautiful, that you're amazing, that you're brilliant, that you're a genius, that you're incredibly creative. you're full of love. Like, that's the truth. And anything that you're hating on or hating in or is some kind of poison that was put into you, which you should want to get the poison out. But we don't hate the poison out, and we don't shame the poison out, and we don't bully the poison out, right? We gently become aware of where it is, and we seek to remove it with love and reprogram. I think this is what being conscious is realizing that you're running some kind of garbage program, not being attached to it, and thinking that that is you. It's not you. It's just some program that's running thoughts or feelings. Like my whole eating disorder was all programmed into me by my culture. Hijacked my mind, hijacked my body, and manipulated me around, tortured me. Whether it's, I had a client yesterday, and she was talking about politics and so being on the right side of politics. And I was like, really? Like, are you? And how she was getting so upset about it. And I was like, you're really letting them grab your chain and jerk you around with that emotional manipulation? Like, you've been programmed into taking sides and letting yourself be emotionally manipulated. And then that self-loathing that we've been programming, we can project outwards onto like political figures or whatever on the other side and hate them. And you're still hating on life. That's what we program into all of the, because for whatever reason, somebody likes to mess with us. Maybe it's just so we can figure out how to not be messable with, right? How to stay coherent, how to stay grounded, how to stay as a force, a coherent emitter. That's what I like to say. Our army of coherent emitters. And to believe that maybe we can actually figure out all together how to emit enough coherence together that we actually really make a difference. There's this term that came to me. I hope I can remember it. Spontaneous coherent emergence, or spontaneous emergent coherence. I think that's it. Right. And you think about cymatics and how in a cymatic rendering, so cymatics is waveforms made visible. You can do that on a Chladni plate, like a flat black metal plate, put sand or salt on it, put a speaker underneath, and you put a particular frequency going in, and it'll make a particular pattern. And when the frequency changes, the pattern will break down and it will become incoherent. But then what will happen is that a new pattern will spontaneously arise. So as we're going through, I think over the next few years, we're going to see kind of a big breakdown. There's a lot going on astrologically in these few weeks of March, and really speaking to a new order arising. Right? And so can we, in following our own guidance and our own yearning towards coherence, be part of the new creation of this new spontaneous emergent coherence that's arising, and inform it with love, inform it with the truth, beauty, order, harmony, truth with a capital T, and create that world, because we all want to. And I think we've all been kind of bullied into feeling helpless, or like, what can one person do? Or it doesn't matter what I think or what I do, because I don't have any power, and blah, blah, blah. And we've all been sort of separated and put down. So we don't come together and rise up into a new creation. Remember that I'm an idealist. So, yeah. Okay, so our bodies, coming back to this, right? It's easy for a lot of people to extend love to something like a baby dolphin or a puppy or a kitten, or anything that's cute and seems innocent, or if you're a grandparent, to extend it to your grandchildren. But that same love that we might be able to extend to people around us, for whatever reason, we've been programmed to exclude ourselves from that circle. I was like, oh, I can see that everyone else is wonderful and deserves love, but not me. Well, what kind of nonsense is that, right? That's just a nonsense program, is what that is. It's just a program. And I really want you to understand that when you're having these contractive thoughts of self-loathing, of self-hatred, of da 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 da, that this is all just in the mix programming you. And that it's up to you to step in and be like, I'm gonna change that, I'm gonna switch that up, I'm gonna understand that I am composed of all of the elements and that I'm part of all of creation. And that when I harsh on myself, I'm harshing on life itself. If you care about the earth, if you care about the cleanliness of the water, if you care about the health of the air, then you have to take care of all of that in you. You are a steward of all of the elements that make up life itself. And it doesn't do any good for you to be like sending money to save the planet while you're just putting garbage thoughts and feelings in your own body and then peeing it out, right? Whatever you think the water in you responds to, and then it has that vibration, and then you're putting it back into the collective water. Like you could be blessing and structuring and loving and exciting, invigorating the water that's in you, putting cleansed holy water back into the world. And that's possible. It might sound offensive to some of you, but if you bring God into the water in you, then you're making that holy water. It matters. Every single one of you and what you do with the water in you matters. Yeah. Good. Okay. So I would like to start tuning. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through the elements. We're going to start with ether. And then so we're going to precipitate down into the just as matter does. Right? Ether is, well, I'll talk about ether when I get there, but we're going to go to ether, plasma, air, plasma also being fire, air, water, earth. Okay, we're just going to spend time tuning into each of these elements and experiencing them as coherent, as pure, as that they're kind of optimum factory settings for your own body. And realize that that is the truth of who you are, is that you are all of these elements come into a very unique arrangement in your own, you're the only one like you in the whole history of everything ever will be or ever was. You're so amazing and important. And whatever the song of your soul is, it's an important part of the whole symphony. Whatever your thread is in the tapestry, it is vitally important. Yeah. Okay. So Lily's lining up her forks over here. So yeah, if you've got forks, you can strike them with me. I'm going to start with a 528. And we're going to tune it into the ether, and we're just going to tune into it. Whatever our perception of it is, however we experience it. And then when we feel done, we'll just move down into more and more density. Good. Okay. So to start, why don't you just get comfy, kick off your shoes, maybe have a swig of water. And then just start to breathe in through your nose. Hopefully most of you can. And remember that you're breathing in light. You're breathing in the free energy that is in the atmosphere that we dwell in. And this is primarily the energy that you run on. It's your breath. So as you breathe that into your nostrils, let it fill your sinus cavities, around the eyes. Just breathe that in with some gratitude. I'm grateful to be here, grateful to be alive, grateful to be hanging out with other people doing the same thing. Okay, and then get that breath going all the way down to the belly. And when you breathe in your sinuses, it kind of just naturally fills the belly anyway. Really bring your awareness down into the pelvic floor, into the belly. Get it down in there. Breathe through any discomfort or obstacles that might be there and just powerfully bypass them. And then exhale down to the ground. Exhale down your butt, out your butt, down your legs and out your feet. Connect yourself to the earth through your breath. And maybe a little exhale. Maybe if any sound or wiggle wants to come out now. And then just take a moment to imagine the ether. Keep your eyes closed. Ether is the luminiferous ocean of clear light that all waves arise in and travel through and fall back into. It holds the geometric template of all of the fundamental building blocks that matter attaches itself to. And it is also what we might call the Akasha. It has the record of anything that ever is, was, or will ever be in the implicate, in the withinness of it, and the explicate, or it becomes form. It's the one that the many arise from and fall back into. In a way, it's like water, only more fine, or even like soil, only more fine. Right? Because it's in all of these things. It's the finest aspect of matter. And it's fully illuminated, and it's fully coherent, and it's fully in truth with a capital T. And so I'm just going to activate the fork, and we're just going to listen to the ether, to our connection to the ether, to anything in our signal that might be corrupted in that connection. And we've been told that the ether doesn't exist, and so that's a bit complicated, because it undermines our whole entire cosmology if we've taken out the fundamental unifying fabric of stuff. It's like stuff and no stuff. You feel how it's in everything, in every cell, in every part of your being. I mean, it is everything. Obviously, it's in everything. But let's kind of tap in to speak to you, or speak to you in your body in some way. What kind of qualities do you sense that it has? See if you can breathe it in. And feel how really, when it comes right down to it, there's no separation between you and all that is, was, and will ever be. Like it's all in you. You're made of ether. This is why I'm always getting you to be a citizen scientist, and I want you to find the answers within the water, the ether, the plasma. All the elements have all the knowing, and it's all present in your own being if you're quiet enough to really hear. There's a limitlessness, a spaciousness, an incredibly deep peace here. I'm infinite. I'm limitless. Good. So that was kind of easy. Good job. And just see what you notice. Like maybe drop in a word. What did that few minutes of just tuning into ether feel like in your body? What did it bring you? Were you able to tap into it? I mean, it sounds to me like you did, because I didn't get a whole lot of interference here. Good. Okay. Now, I'm just trying to figure out what fork I'm going to use next. Expansive, spiraling, spaciousness, tingly thighs. spiraling feeling. So the spiraling feeling, so that leads us to plasma. Because ether, all of the elements really spiral. And this is torsion. This is something, we're never taught in school about torsion. We were never really taught about spirals, and we weren't taught about phi. We weren't taught about phi spirals in geometry. Right? Like, you've had all the juicy stuff. And that's why I hated school so much. It was all like dry and dumb. I was like, where's the juice? Where's the aliveness? Where's the wonder? I don't know. It was all missing. So torsion being one of those things that's missing is this is the way that the ether spins itself through the spiraling action. And in that torsion, there's the charge separation. The one separates into the two by spiraling, by spinning. You get the positive and the negative, right? And then life becomes this whole interplay of the positive and negative, the masculine and the feminine. So plasma is the spiraling current of charge that moves through the ether. So it's ether, but it's spun ether with movement. And then it condenses into light, right? So we can see it in things like lightning really clearly, but sunlight and, sunlight, which is what we're mostly made of, right? This is our electric body. It would not be possible without the sun. So the fire element is something that most of us are repressing or mismanaging in some way. This is your electric body. This is your current. This is your voltage. This is your passion. This is your digestive fire. If anybody's gut is like a wet, smoldering mess, it's because you don't have a fire in there, right? You want to eat with gusto. You've got to have the fire element really liberated to flow through your body in the right way. So now we're gonna tune into plasma, into fire, into electricity, okay? And just see what that sounds and feels like. See if you've got any cold spots coming up in your body. I'm kind of feeling a burp wanting to surface here. Might come up in a minute here. But it's also our thoughts, right? Our thoughts are electric. And our thoughts have been corrupted with the language of spells and the way that it just right? There's just a lot of garbage in there. So what does it feel like to have more pure fire moving through the land of thoughts? I don't know. It just kind of came to me. I don't even know what it means. But so thinking about if ether is your spirit, then plasma is the soul, is the biofield, is the electric body. And this is the place where I really want to teach you to get strong and good, is because this is how we bring more light into the world, is through our own light. So I'm going to shut up for a minute. We'll just hang out with the fire. This is a 174. Phew, lots going on here. Move if you have to, okay? If it comes up, fire moves, crackles, dances, right? Maybe part of you's frozen and stiff and holding it back and down. So if it starts to arise, to move in you, let it move. It's the kundalini, fire, the upgoing energy, right? Let it move. Don't be afraid of it. It's not bad. It's not the devil. Right? Remember, this is about loving ourselves. So whatever you're experiencing with the forks in this moment, bring love into the equation. Okay, add love. Shake it like a salt shaker or pepper grinder. Whatever is happening here, add love to the mix. All right. Be curious about this wonderful fire that's inside of you. Be like, wow, you're so hot. I really love you. Right? Lots of kind of jam up in the mid gut, I'm sensing. There's a lot of dampness in the liver and the spleen, the pancreas, the kidneys, all just kind of damp in that midsection. So let's send some dedicated blasts into that zone. Right? Our own internal sun. Turn that on. And let it just kind of burn away the dross and the dampness and the mold and the algae and the yeast that's kind of damply there because you haven't had enough fire going. Yeah. You want to make some noise. That's the sound of that stuff burning out. Boy, we could stay in this one all day, right? But we're not going to. Just a couple more. A little anxiety about me ending. Don't go away. Get it really into the body. Get it into those places that it hasn't been. Shake it up. Yeah, that's it. So this is something you can really do on your own because I'm feeling the kind of pull to want to be in this. If you've got forks, really any instrument I think can work. And even your own voice, right? So sound the fire, resonate it, feel it, invoke it, call it up with love. What vocal sound does the heart make is ya, ya. Right? And you can play with that. You can be like, yeah, 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 yeah. Maybe your heart is like, you just keep making the sound, whatever sound is there. You don't try to force through it. You just keep sounding it and adding more air gradually. And then it opens up, right? Think of this comes from the sonic anatomy of Sing the Body Electric, of sort of cleaning our pipes with sound from the inside out. And you gotta, you're sounding into it. You're like, yeah, what's going on in there? Those are very congested. It's very hard for me to love people because I got all this crap dumped on me. Just clean it all off. All right, this is the last one. Fire. Yeah. Well, that's all feeling like it's flowing a lot more, right? So this is a big part of who you are. There's no need or reason to hate on your fire. Love it. Enjoy it. Play with it. Good job. Okay, so the next one is air. Air, right? So plasma is free-flowing electrons and ions, allegedly, so how it's described. And then when those start to kind of pair up, we start to get gases, different kinds of gases, right? So the ether condenses into plasma, which condenses into the gas part of things. So we'll call that the air element. And they're going to come in with the 417 for the air element. Now, air is, not just in what we breathe, right? Oxygen. So our air also contains ether and plasma. And so when we're breathing in air, we're breathing in ether and plasma and as well as the gaseous elements in the atmosphere. But really, oxygen, which we require the most, has free energy. It has electrons, free electrons attached to it. So when we breathe in air, we breathe in light. And why does your blood get bright red? Because now it's got light in it, right? So this is a huge part of health, is making sure that we get enough air to every corner of our being so that plasma is transported there. All right. So air is a big part of who we are, sort of spaciousness within us. And what are you going to not love about that? So let's get on with love and air and just tuning into bringing it into places where maybe it hasn't been able to get to. And this work always sounds wonky and annoying to me when I start off using it. It might be a reflection of my own energy still somehow. But it really gets into those tight places. It really goes to those places where air is not going. So just be curious as you breathe in air and breathe in sound, and invite it, host it, usher it lovingly to all the places, especially where things are tight, right? Where your muscles are tight, no air in there. It's like a room crammed with junk. Spring cleaning. I'm feeling it. And I'm feeling tightness in my throat. I'm going to get tight in our throat, and the diaphragm gets locked, and shoulders get locked, and there's not a lot of air going on in the scene, right? So if any of those contractions are arising, just breathe into them. The sound of the lungs is da. Da, 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 da. You can move it around back and forth, either lungs, lower lungs, bottom lungs, upper lungs. Da. Right, with these sounds, you really want to play about getting them as deep into the body as you can, and then play with them, move them around. That's the cool thing about the sonic anatomy tones, is you can move them around inside of you, like sonic scrubbing from the inside. So here's the thing. I'm feeling like as air comes in, it's kind of playful, kind of like the wind, how it likes to blow around, There's the playful element in the air element that as it moves, it really wants to blow around inside of us, right? In a good way, ideally. I can hear the jokes that some of you might be thinking around that. Yeah, laughter. Yeah. Ha 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 ha. Ha, that's the front of the throat. Ha 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 ha. That's air coming out in a playful way. Okay, just a couple more of these. I guess we're going late today because we got to get through all the elements later than the 44 minutes that I aim for. Okay, last one of these. Let it get into all those nooks and crannies, even like funny places like behind your knees. Good job. Okay, then we're going to come into water, right? So we're mostly water. And we all love water, don't we? We love seeing the sunset over water. We love being by brooks or waterfalls or by the ocean. Love a good, tasty, cold glass of water on a hot day. Or water made into lemonade, or my favorite, an Arnold Palmer. Right? We love water. 99.9% of the molecules in your body are water. Water is life. Like you are water. Now it's snowing and blowing outside. Speaking of water and wind combining. Okay, that's mostly what you are, guys. This is just so important to love the water inside of you. The water loves to be loved. It really does. And we see so much evidence of that. All right. It loves to be loved, just like anything does. All right. So we're going to tune into the water. I'm going back to the 174 for the water. Tammy's asking, I'm wanting to say wah. That is the tailbone. Wah. But also water. Yeah. Loving that water. Sonically cleansing it. Cleanse all of the bad thoughts you've put about your body and yourself that are hanging out in the bubbles in your being. And just let that sonically kind of shake out. I'm sorry, water, that I've been mean to you. I didn't understand. Right? Think about the blood in your veins, your lymph, all your intercellular and extracellular fluids. The fourth phase of water in you that Gerald Pollack talks about, the gel, easy water, the plasma water in you, right? Yeah, blast and blah. That's a big sonic cleanse of getting out the garbage. Right with love. That's with love. Lots of crud coming out, you guys. And see that this is really moving stuff today. You're going to need to drink a lot of water to help move all this crud out that is sort of blasting out of the water molecules in your body. We're just going to fill those back up again with plasma, with oxygen, ether, with love, with appreciation, cleansing, structuring. As you really bring in the plasma, it really structures that water. Yeah. Take a big breath into the belly, exhale down in the ground. Last one for water. Well, maybe not, because it's still kind of sharp. Right? Sometimes I feel like I'm a top-loading washing machine on like the agitation cycle, and that really seems to be kind of one of the movements in the body around this sonic cleansing, sort of agitation back and forth that wants to come in, bounce out all those little dirty particles. Good. All right. So also one of the things that water likes is to be calm, is to be settled, right? It likes to be in waves and being blown around, but it also likes to be calm and settled. So let's leave our inner water in kind of a placid, warm, fuzzy, loved kind of place. Not with that fork, though. It wants the 528 for that one. Sweet, soft, placid, content, satisfied, loved, connected to ether and the air and the plasma. Yeah. And water is sweet, right? And it's very nature. When it comes up out of a mountain spring, it's pure. It's very sweet. Not sticky sweet, right? But this really lovely, soft sweetness. So just kind of bringing in that. Good. All right. That was delicious. All right. Now we're going to come down into the earth element. The earth is the soil, is the bones, is the densest stuff in us. All the dense stuff that gives us a body, that gives us a wrapper, a container, so we don't spill out all over the place in our watery, fiery, airy, etheric bodies. It's super important to have this element, the earth herself, right? The Ma, the goddess, the matter, the stuff. Well, really, just all the stuff that we were just talking about, right? It's really ether. but it's complexified itself into this density that we call Earth. And it's the most enduring part of us, right? When we die, your bones stick around for a long time. Well, they really hold a lot of energy, a lot of electricity, a lot of water, and the air. Everything is in our bones, right? So let's tune into our bones and the earth signs, the earth signs, the earth, why am I saying that? The earth elements within us. 144. Okay, so the bones. The sound of the bones is So just hum with me if you feel like it. And really feel your bones and send love to your bones. You can move that hum all around, or you moving your head, down your spine, anywhere you want. It's kind of fun to play with. Can I hum all the way down to my feet? I don't know. I mean, kind of, I can. All right, and with love. Like, hello, bones. I love you. Ribs, they're pretty easy to do. Right, cleaning the bones. We don't think about our bones being dirty, but what kind of crud sticks in the bones? What kind of self-loathing that you've directed to yourself in the past has somehow lodged itself in any of your bones, right? If you've been hating your thighs, and your thigh bones might be like, oh, I got all this hate that's been directed at me because she didn't like her thighs. Ow. Every bone, every part of your being. Yeah, and remember that they hold a lot of electricity, so we're really going to invite all of the elements, the awareness of all the elements in our bones, and how we are all of these things, right? And I can really feel it. I can feel the connection in all of you to the bones, the mass, the matter, the water, the air, the fire, and the ether, right? We're feeling all those different levels of me. Like, what is not to love? And from this place, we reprogram ourselves into a loving being. I mean, obviously, you're not going to be that way all the time, guys. And don't beat yourself up if you have a moment of road rage or you get too tired or you say, you know what I mean? Like, it's okay if you're not in this space, but it's the touchstone to bring you back to you. No, thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, creation, for me having a body. It's cool. Thanks. I'm going to treat it well. Love it up. Do cool things with it. Help other people do cool things, feel better about themselves. All right, last one. Okay, one nice, big, full, grateful, loving breath, and then exhale with any kind of sound that wants to come out. Good. Yeah, Bob is feeling warm and fuzzy. Y'all feel warm and fuzzy. Last week you were just bright, but this week you're all kind of like warm and fuzzy in a nice way. And very centered. Like I'm really aware of your kind of centeredness, even though we didn't really work so much on that central axis. It can feel a real upright centeredness, something about stacking these blocks in this way really led to a nice, balanced, coherent kind of feeling. Yeah, so drop a note about how you're noticing, how you feel. And thanks for staying with me for, I guess, a whole hour today. I wasn't planning on that, but it's snowing really hard and blowing. I'm not really in any hurry to go outside. So, um, yeah, thanks for doing that. If you find the toning cool, which I do, I would invite you to come join the brothers Corin and I at Kripalu in Lenox, Mass. And that is June 28th to July 1st, I believe. So if you go on the Kripalu, it's Kripalu, Kripalu website, you can check that out and sign up. It's a pretty cool place if you've never been there. And it's a nice time of year to be there. And it will be super fun for us to just all be getting together and making some noise again. It really helps you to expand. Again, I said again, maybe we've done this in past lives. It feels like it anyway. I love teaching that work. I love playing with people in that zone. So come see me there. Also, this Thursday at, I believe, 5 o'clock Eastern, I'm doing a live virtual Q&A, 2 hours, on this theme of being a citizen scientist. And come with questions. That isn't free because guys, I have a team. I love doing things for free, but I also have to pay them. So come make a donation because I need their help too. I don't need anybody's help to show up and do this, but I do need lots of help to do events like that. So it's $35. And that should be fun. And again, it's an opportunity to just gather with like minds. And I share things in Q&A that I don't share anywhere else because people ask me questions. I'm like, oh, we're talking about that. But, I really have amassed quite a lot of data and on information in the years that I've been figuring this out. So yeah, I guess that's all I wanted to share. Let me just read some of your comments. Somebody's looking forward to Thursday. Yay. Thank you, Eileen. This was so invigorating. And there is a link in the description to sign up for that. I'm preparing for major bone surgery. I'm sending love to all my bones. Yes, I love that. See you Thursday night. Thank you for helping us be coherent and bright. Thank you for showing up and doing this work. I appreciate you. Anything cool with John Stewart's machine? Okay, so yes, I have a Simscope, and no, I've got it 99.9% set up, and that last 0.01% of like it really working has been elusive, but I've also been busy with other things. So I will get to that, but I have to solve that last problem. So send me good vibes, and you can just send me a little tuning that I get over that last hurdle with my Simscope and get it good to go so I can start playing with it in the way that I want to. And then I'll have images for you. Do we sing or tone? What's the program about? We do both. We tone mostly. We just tone. But we tone in this very cool way. When you learn different tones and different zones and all kinds of stuff. And then at the end, we sing. We only sing a few songs that are easy to sing along with. But you will discover that when you sing those songs that you enjoy singing. Right? That's the whole point of it. Most of us don't enjoy singing because we don't like our voice and we're filled with contraction and judgment and self-hatred and so we're not free. Right? This is about if you want to be free and freedom is health, then your voice has to be free. It just has to. You're not going to achieve the level of freedom that you want in your life, whatever that looks like, if your voice isn't free and you don't enjoy the ability to just even sing happy birthday to somebody. Right? So it liberates you into enjoyment of your human instrument, which is massive. And it's bigger than maybe most of us realize that it is. Yeah. All right, you guys. It's almost 11 o'clock, so I am going to sign off now. Thank you for loving yourself. Keep on doing that. And I will look forward to seeing you all here next week and also maybe Thursday night.